Well, VinaCapital is the biggest asset manager in Vietnam. That's a developing and emerging market, perhaps ripe for investing in if you're interested in Asia and in the market, which has a lot more potential. Well, we're joined now by the CEO of VinaCapital, Andy Ho, or the CIO rather, I should say, the Chief Investment Officer of VinaCapital. Vietnam, interesting place. We've been hearing for a long time about the potential. It's in a region which is growing very quickly. But I get the feeling with Vietnam that there's been a lot of promise, but are we really seeing the potential being achieved?
Sure, I think that's a good way to put it. It is a frontier/emerging market. You are going to see a lot of volatilities. There's been a lot of improvements, and the government's trying to get various things right to set the foundation for future growth. At the moment, we're looking at GDP growth between 6 to 7% per annum. Interest rates and inflations have come down to a very low level. In fact, inflation for the first part of the year is about 1%. So therefore, interest rates have been quite low. People are looking to spend money, invest money in various asset classes such as property, equities, and other assets that may deliver higher return. So within the economy itself of 90 plus million people, there's significant amount of cash and liquidity, and they're using that money to invest. And I think that creates a lot of opportunities for foreign investors to participate and enjoy the upside of Vietnam. It is still a very fast-growing, smaller economy. The basis of its growth is probably around consumerism, manufacturing. Vietnam also attracts quite a bit of foreign direct investment. For example, Intel has opened the world's largest plant in Vietnam. Samsung will soon be producing over 40% of their smartphones from Vietnam. This is creating a tremendous amount of wealth for the domestic economy, and therefore, spending will increase, real estate valuations will increase, and so you have a situation where the foundation is being built for the longer-term growth, steady growth over the next 3 to 5 years at least.
Yeah. And I suppose it is now the right time to think about investing in Vietnam, because we've seen in a sense you've always been overshadowed by the 800-pound dragon, which is China. Of course, China's economy is slowing down. There are concerns about that. Money is flowing out of that. Is this Vietnam's time?
Yeah, we think so. I think if you look at a number of metrics, you can sort of understood why. If you look at the valuation measure in PE, for example, Vietnam is trading at a discount of about 30 to 40% relative to neighboring economies like the Philippines, Thailand, Indonesia. So money have flown to these economies, valuations have come up, and I think there's opportunities for Vietnam to catch up in terms of those valuations. That's one simple metric to look at where opportunities lie.
Yeah. So you have 3 funds, closed-end funds, listed on AIM in the UK. You've also got some private equity investments as well. So you're pretty much covering all the assets. What are your main investment themes? What's your strategy? What do you think, what asset classes have got the most potential?
Sure. One of our funds called VOF, it is listed in AIM today. We're in the process of migrating it to London, Maine. Its primary mandate is to invest in larger private opportunities, such as hospitals, food and beverages, education, and then either take them to the stock market through an IPO or take them through a trade sale. For example, we sold one of the largest vodka business to Diageo not too long ago and made a healthy return. The return is given back to our shareholders of VOF. We have been able to give back roughly $60 million on the average per annum over the last 4 years through a share buyback program. The other fund is...
that's in lieu of a dividend?
In lieu of a dividend. It's more tax efficient for various investors around the world. And in terms of our property fund, VinaLand, we invest in development projects, development opportunities. The amount of land is very limited in a place like Vietnam, which is covered by 3,000 kilometers of water on one side and mountains on the other side. So land is very limited, and you're seeing valuations go up significantly if you develop the right product.
And are you seeing some of the, and we're seeing it certainly in the UK property market, that a lot of Chinese hot money is coming out now and investing in here? Is some of it being invested in the Vietnamese property market.
Yeah, we are seeing some of that happening. I think one of the things that we see is that Chinese investors will look at larger projects like resorts, developments, like a turnkey situation whereby they come in, build the resorts, and then Chinese will come and be entertained within that resort. That type of investment opportunity is happening.
Yeah. Now, presumably you list on AIM because you want to get to the retail market. I suppose one could argue, as you said, it's the frontier, it's the Wild West, or the Wild East. Is it perhaps a bit too exotic, a bit too volatile for untutored retail investors?
Yeah, you're right. It is a bit far out there. It does provide a lot of risk, but in return, it does provide a lot of return. We view that Vietnam is in more of an allocation play. So you'll have $100 and you'll diversify throughout the world, and Vietnam should be part of that diversification exercise.
So what are the returns you're getting?
For us, from an NAV perspective, we average about 15 to 20% per annum over the last 5 years. And like I said, again, as a shareholder, you're subject to the share prices, and that's gone up quite nicely over the last few years. And you're also able to get the return that we pay out to shareholders via a share buyback program.
So would it be fair to say that you're now at a stage where Vietnam is about to become a much more mature market for investors? It's about to realise its potential.
I think using the word mature is a bit of a stretch. It is still a frontier / emerging market. You are going to see some volatilities, and we frankly like that volatility. It creates return for our investment.
All right. Okay. Andy Ho, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
You're welcome.